Shalom, shalom. You know, it's something about these head feathers, man. I don't know if I said it enough. Something about these head feathers. I remember saying, you know, a headdress of the American Indian was the significance, right? Of most extreme importance. I was always highlighting that part. And I remember getting crazy feedback like, nah, man, it wasn't our folks that was rocking feathers, man. It wasn't our folks that was rocking feathers. And it's like, I don't know, you know. It's something about this headdress, this feather headdress that sets you apart from the rest. It was something about this feather headdress that gave you significance, that gave you a highlight, something distinct. All around the world, no matter where it's depicted, the image is the same. Some of them refer to you as Moors of the such. But everywhere where you are depicted, when we're talking about regality, royalty, honor, high esteem, your feather crown was around, my nigga. It was only natural. You know how we do. Of course, we gonna get into it. But as you can see, that feather headdress was no joke. It was no play. No play. No matter where you are depicted, the image is the same. Don't worry, we just letting the vibration build as we build upon this intro. We like to build our energy right about now. That way we maximize our potential as we take off in this ether bus. Ahab out to the tribe. Ahab to the creator, that is Hawa. It doesn't matter where we're at, we're talking the same thing. The importance. Keep in mind, this feather headdress, this feather crown is for specific people. It's what separates you from the rest. Ahab. We gonna see what else we got. See, thing to be spiritual, and it's another thing to be spiritually dead. And when you're spiritually dead, you don't recognize the detail of the importance of spirituality that surrounds you. That's within the elements, that's within the environment naturally. You don't need religion just to tap into this spirituality. All you gotta do is surf the wave. We're just talking frequency. Cause it's always been about the frequency. It's always been about your frequency. Hawa, hawa. It's always been about the charge. It's always been about the breath. It's always been about the Shabbatah. That is the tribe. It's always been about the clarity. It's always been about the flow. See, we're just talking feather headdresses for the big chief. Alright? And I know a lot of slack was given to me because they were like, yo, I think this came from the foreigner, man. You know, this came from the proxy. This came from those of the ice. And I've seen a lot of highlighted usage of this more so from the plains, which I dig on. But considering the source, when we're talking to original, when we're talking to Orient, because this is part 2, when we're talking to Orient, we can only be talking to original. And since we're talking original, we can only be talking about you, my naga. We can only be talking about the cons. So it's important to know just where within your flow you actually are. Alright? Because see, digging on these things is no coincidence. This isn't just for any or no reason. But I can tell that the story that you're used to, the version that you're used to, it hasn't been clarified. 'Cause see, I can never agree with a hijack. I can never find myself agreeing with what a hijack says, thinks, believe, or feel. I can only agree and relate to the truth, to that which is true. Facts. I can only resonate with the tribe that resonates with pure energy wata. I can only resonate with the flock who builds a charge within that breath. We about to take it there. Oh yeah, we about to take it there. Shalom. Let's get ready.
The genetics of my people are an experimental concoction, amalgamation of a whole bunch of shit. Because I can feel it. And I don't care what you say. It's probably the person that believes in Jesus that wants to say I'm lost. Or the person that believes in Allah or Buddha. I'm not saying there's not good teachings you can learn from these things, but if you can't see that shit was made to control you, So yeah. But before I go into an underground cave, I will.
Whoa. Before he goes into an underground cave? Yeah, my nigga, once you start seeing content like this on this channel while you just surfing a wave, naturally, we definitely know what time it is, right? We've definitely seen how far we done came. And like I said, I can never agree with a hijack. I can never see eye to eye with a hijack. But I can relate to that which is true. Let's get it back.
The genetics of my people are an experimental concoction, amalgamation of a whole bunch of shit.
And it's intense because we got maybe some idea of what he's talking about, right? I mean, we are on part 2. We don't necessarily touch within that science in this series. But yes, we have work and that work all about the topic. In fact, while speaking on that, go ahead and tap in with the Patreon because we got the Canaanites part 3. That's right. The Canaanites part 3 is back up, but only on the Patreon, man, because everything else gets taken down, along with a few classics we'll go ahead and highlight later on as we built this for its release. A few classics that were deleted that I couldn't even believe it. I was just sitting back like, they got rid of this joint? Before you realize, man, you know, it all comes falling down, it all comes crumbling. But we've had a great run, Shabbat. So, you know, we got part 3 of the Canaanite series where we really just dive straight head first into this type of topic. And that whole series is nothing shy about what we're getting into, as well as the Nephilim series, the new man. All right, and how we break down those different factions, all of these things tying together, as we'll see, just like all the great storytellers and their content and work end up tying together. We'll definitely get examples of those. But we're going to go ahead and let, you know, this brother continue to express himself, get his piece up off his chest, you know what I'm saying? And phew, what a time, right? What a time.
The genetics of my people are an experimental concoction, amalgamation of a whole bunch of shit. Because I can feel it. And I don't care what you say. It's probably the person that believes in Jesus that wants to say I'm lost. Or the person that believes in Allah or Buddha. I'm not saying there's not good teachings you can learn from these things, but if you can't see that shit was made to control you, so yeah. But before I go into an underground cave, I will let the sun bleach my bones. I would rather that. I don't want nothing to do with people that look like me other than my wife and child, and that's it.
What's going on, bruh? What's going on? What did he wake up to? What did he wake up to? What is going on? Peace and love to everybody surfing the wave, man. We're gonna go ahead and get back into the build. But just notice real quick how bothered he was around this part. He looked pretty upset, right? Like, he couldn't, like, there was just no way this could be possible, right? Let's see. He looked so bothered. He looked so bothered at that fact. You know? Like right there. He looked so bothered. He just is like, ugh. Alright, peace and ahal to the real ones. Let's continue on with the bill. Shalom. See, when we talking about feathers, there's a reason why the feathers were associated to everything. And the more you pay attention, the more you'll notice how it comes back to this melanation right about here. See, these feathers and this melanation tend to go hand in hand. They tend to go hand in hand. We was trying to let you know when we made that Hawa and the breath, the autogenous, you know what I'm saying? We was trying to let you know. We were trying to raise the vibration, which we did. But as you can see, something about this crown, my nigga. Something about this crown that definitely sets you apart. That definitely gave you your royal Negus flow, as a real Naga should. I mean, even when I was up there with the giant cedars, you can see the feathered crown. Alright? And it's attached to that melanation. And it's attached to that melanation. There's no getting around it. There's no getting around it, as you'll see, with good intent. See, as we can see, this feathered crown didn't represent just anybody. And it's not like this feathered crown gave significance just because the people happen to look alike. It was very specific about who it was in reference to. Alright? Because as you can see right here, they are both wearing cloths for clothing, right? But the headdress is completely different. See, as you'll see, they'll make mention of so-called Moors. Moors with feather hairdresses and Moors with just headbands, and those without. As you can see though, this little card of London states 2 black boys against Somerset House. Alright. In London. 2 black boys. And the term black does tend to ruffle a lot of feathers. If you know what I mean. You know, they like to say that the term is synonymous with just a landmass that represents sub-Saharan servitude, huts and mud, no impact on civilization, for without a written language existed Therefore, nothing was documented. These are the things these people believe and say. See? Not everybody was rocking that feather crown, which meant that they definitely know something that you don't. They definitely were trying to keep something away from you. I mean, we talking that headdress, right? And for the record, it is stated and acknowledged that the slave trade happened from this land first, the land of America first, back into Europe. So that means the first wave of new people that were seen were these depictions right here. Notice them feathers again. Alright? He's still got the sackcloth going on, but he's rocking his feathers, his headdress. Still talking black boy, melanation. Still talking copper colored races. Why does it matter? Because when someone doesn't want to let you in on a secret or something important, they hope it just floats right over your head and that you never take notice. Because let it be told, they'll just tell you were Negroes who arrived off the coast of Rice. Alright? The Rice Coast and the windwards of the shores of Africa. You were just Negroes, slaves, packaged like sardines onto a boat thousands of miles away. You had the endurance, the will to live that journey just to make it here and put yourself into a royal garb. The only problem is with this location is that the people don't wear feather hairdresses in that region. Runaways, right? I was just a little Negro girl running away from her subscriber. Running away from what used to be her owner. Alright. Again, the feather crown. Right. They're telling you this is the best of Virginia. Alright, of Virginia over here in London. And you see the feather crowns upon the two melanation ones right here, the two natural ones right here. Alright? It's feather crown, man. And as you see right here, no crowns, no feather crowns, no hairdresses, no headdresses. So it's not for everybody, and there is a distinction. And I'm here to make sure we understand, overstand this distinction. Because the details does not cast us all the same. I mean, peep this out, right? We gonna dig on this in a minute. For those that knows what this is, actually. Alright, but trip. Let's get that back. Alright. Peep it. The hairdress signifies something different. Alright. So let's take a look into what this actually is. Okay, so that image comes and represents actually the Royal African Company. Says the Royal African Company was an English trading company established in 1660 by the House of Stuart and City of London merchants to trade along the West African coast. It was overseen by the Duke of York, the brother of Charles II of England. The Royal African Company was founded after Charles II ascended to the English throne in the 1660 Stuart Restoration, and he granted it a monopoly on all English trade with Africa. While the company's original purpose was to trade for gold in the Gambia River, as Prince Rupert of the Rhine had identified gold deposits in the region during the interregnum, the Royal African Company quickly began trading in slaves, which became its largest commodity. But as you see, I mean, this more reflects what we would, or what we're known to identifying as so-called Indians. Mind you, we just got a lot of images depicting the very same look. But this is not a West African feature. The headdress of feathers and the display of such is not a West African feature. This is not a West African feature, so what's really going on? Well, we'll definitely find out. Because that's what we're here to do, right? Definitely signifying the headdress once again. So here becomes the switcheroo, right? The disassociation by relocation. By placing you in a place that you weren't ever before. Because we're just talking about the Naga, then the Goose, the original American Indian. We're just talking about headdress, feathers, spirituality. We're talking about tribing up. We're talking about identity. We're talking importance. We're talking royalty. We're talking regality. The regal Negro. We're talking melanation. Zep Tepi. Something about these feathers. Something about this tradition that's not being spoken on. But we're gonna touch on it today because this is part 2. Something they don't want you to find out, Shabbat. Something they don't want you to connect. But Natural's been telling you about this connection. So we're gonna see what else we got. Let's keep this ether buzz rolling. See, the problem is that we've allowed this goat of a man with a twisted plan that only concerns Pan to blur and cloud our vision with imperfect speech at a twist of a breath that has now laid upon our very foundation a curse of being trapped, but for only as long as you play along. The moment you step outside of their rule structure, the clarity gets stronger and stronger. You see, when we're talking Pan, you also have to keep in mind you're talking the Sayers, aka the Satyrs. And when you're talking the Satyrs, and when you're talking Pan, well, you start getting into a little something like this. And I'm not sure if this is the natural way to go for a natural one. I'm not sure anyone natural will want to have anything to do with Pan anything. I do enjoy the idea of all-inclusive tribal flow, but we call that tribal mafia. Alright, so you let them tell it. They'll tell you the term Indian in reference to the original inhabitants of the American continent is said to derive from Christopher Columbus, a 15th century boat person. Extremely interesting. How about hijack, conquistador, someone coming to conquer, rape, and pillage an entire way of living. Some say he used the term because he was convinced he had arrived in the Indies as his intended destination. Okay, so say Columbo, Saint Stephen, the Canaanite, the doghead, say he did think he was in the Indies. What's wrong with that, right? What's wrong with referring to a people as Indians if he thought this is where he was, right? Because then that's saying, these people over here look alike, right? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. In fact, let's take a look at what Indians of the 15th century would look like in an area of Asia in comparison. See, I can never agree with a hijack or see their points of view, but I could and can agree and see the point of view of the truth. And if I'm looking correctly, well, this man seems to look quite melanated to me. You know, and I know people, again, get their feathers ruffled when we use terms like dark and black, right? And they say it's not the same. These are Africans and blah, blah, blah. And it's like they play a technology game, right? They get to pick, according to them, when skin tone matters and when it doesn't. If hair is a variant or if it's not. There are many things that play into a determining factor. But for the sub-Saharan, there are no doubts. He is a monkey. We was kings. Oh, I know. But when you look at how the people depicted themselves on the wall, personally, things get a little bit interesting. 'Cause this is what 15th century Asians would have looked like. And I'm seeing lots of melanation. Shades of melanation at that. I mean, wow. A lot of these phenotypes still exist in this very land today. Which would lead me to believe that, hey, maybe some of these people at some point in time actually lived here in America. Maybe they were here before they went up over there. I mean, we're looking at the comparison of Christopher Colombo. I mean, look at the melanation. I love this touchscreen laptop because it's just letting me zoom in at will. Definitely keeping the flow interesting. I mean, we're talking a lot of copper color. I'm talking a lot of melanation. I mean, we can't mistake how the natural inhabitants portrayed themselves in detail. I mean, there are people in the land that still look like this right now. So you mean to tell me that Colombo saw an entire continent of people that resemble this? Amazing. Okay, we're talking Buddha now. We talking Buddha now. Can you feel the vibration? I mean, we are getting a 15th century depiction on what Colombo was comparing the American Indian to. In my mind, the comparison is marvelous. I won't cap. I mean, look how interesting it gets, right, Shabata? We're talking melanation upon melanation. I mean, did Colombo really get it wrong? Did Esteban really get it wrong? Saint Stephen, the Canaanite, did he really get it wrong? Because it's looking clear to me. How about to you, sis? Aqua? How's it looking to you? Alright, we talking melanation. Alright. Furthermore, they used to say, oh, well, he was talking about maybe he was in India. But that can't be the case, because if he's looking for India during his exploration, well, he's gonna have a hard time, because at that time, in that year, there was no country known as India. Instead, that country was called Hindustan or Istanbul. Alright? And they are saying that they think it's closer to the truth that the Spanish padre that traveled with Columbus was so impressed of the innocence of the naturals, of the natives, of the aboriginals. He observed that he called them Los Niños Indios. Los Niños Indios, which means the children of God, of Hawa. Because there was no country known as India in the 15th century. So then, furthermore, you know they weren't looking at these people as Indians of India. Yet, these people were already being labeled as Indians. Or maybe as Indios. We're gonna carry on. Peace, peace. See that function of the breath? That breath is a bylaw. A bylaw. And when you interrupt or interfere with the process of such a natural function, you done begin to create the collapsing of that function right there in its place, which will later leave behind symptoms. And these symptoms leave a trace, a telltale sign of where the corruption happened. So to be natural by law is to be natural within the design of the very breath itself, which is why you see these feathers, which is why you've always seen me with mine, because I was always aware we're only talking about a specific people. Some say chosen, some say set apart. I like to say separate, because to separate is natural. A-ha to the big bro. Cause see, your culture is a Masonic secret. Is a Masonic secret. I mean, even right here we can see the headdress. It's clear as day. We see the melanation. Clear as day. This is a Masonic secret. The headdress was for specific peoples. This wasn't for everybody. This isn't in everybody flow, just like them scripts. Much a-ha to everybody tapping in with the series Tales of the Script. Right now we talking feathers, feather crowns. Alright, peep the beast right here. Man, what's really going on, right? Amerique. Again, See the feather crown. This is only for a chosen few. You can't just put feathers on your head, man, and adorn yourself. Nah. This has to be earned. This takes commitment. This takes endurance. This is a process. See, I remember back when the truth first hit. Ooh, what an amazing time it was. Cause it was just truth flowing in every which direction. And honestly, I don't know what happened, man. In between that glorious moment, somehow a race developed. And this never was a race. This never was about race or racing. It was always about the water, the wata. It was always about the spiritual, that food for the soul. I'm talking feather headdress. It's not for everybody. You know, internal fighting became a popular thing. Calling out channels became a popular thing. Disrespecting content creators became a popular thing. The attention, the need to keep viewers, to build subscribers, to make it entertaining. But what happened to the wata? What happened to the truth? Well, the truth is, my nigga, this feather crown represented the tip of the top. Alright. They detailed you the same. You look the same today, my nigga. You just don't have your feather crown. But this is still you. This is still the American the goose. Because see, it was these people who had the highest understandings of the functionalities of that which we refer to as the ether. It was these people who were able to use the ether and fine tune it right out of the sky itself. Built monuments that express the knowledge and the information in symmetrical design, giving it a harmony within the flow of nature itself by way of architecture. It was a communication for those with eyes to see and ears to hear, to know what has been passed down and what is preserved still. Make no mistake, my nigga. These ancient Etherians that we are looking at in depiction were ones that were marveled. Your feather crown signified the height of where you took this science, this culture, this religion, this civilization. You were envied by nations unaccounted for. Top form with your dragon and everything, your Drake Khan and all. Look at this. Here you are, side by side with your Tiamat. Here you are, side by side with your Leviathan. Here you are, side by side with your Venus as the Prester, because the Prester was within the flow, was a regal flow that remained preserved throughout time. It was timeless. You are timeless, my nigga, because we're only talking about a specific people. This isn't for everybody. Shalom to the tribe. The poor blacks going. We were unfortunately cast away in the British Channel on board the Portland East Indian. Okay, so they was with the East Indian Company. And it says ruined by the American War. Alright. But peep these folk, right? Like peep them with the headdress on. Pray. Remember us poor blacks. And we talking about those of the land. But notice the feather crown. Rectifier of spirits. We was just talking about the spiritual flow. Can you see, my nigga? Is it 2020 for you yet? It's okay, because we're gonna take it to the courts. We're gonna take it to the courts in a second. See, when we take it to the courts, that is the crystal. The Naga taps into the infinite, where there is no limitation, where everything is possible and it's all happening. To pull from within that which is already flowing in the ether. It's like I told you, it was these people who understood the ether at its highest capacity. And they took this to the four corners of the earth. And they took this knowledge to the four corners of the earth so that it may be preserved. So that no one may have the opportunity of saying they never heard the truth. Remember, that breath is a bylaw. We're talking feather crown. we're seeing this melanation steady being detailed and upholding its significance. But your memory is washed. I'm not even sure if you're surfing the wave with me right now. But I know my real ones is with me. And if it's only about 10 of them, that's enough for me. See, when you're looking at the style of dress by the original Indian, the American Indian, Indios, the American Indios, it becomes a bit more electrifying. Becomes a bit more magnetizing. Alright, because even as Columbus was doing his thing, I mean, peep the way the Indio actually looked. Peep the way the Indio was actually looking. Let's not ignore. Because we're talking the same thing. We're going to continue to talk the same thing. Because it's simple. And we cannot make this up. I'm talking royalty. No matter where you're depicted, it's the same. But I'm only talking to a certain section. I'm only talking to a set apart people. I'm not talking to an entire population. And this is not for everyone. And it's okay. Indians blowing shofars, letting the horn blow. It's giving Tales of the Script type vibes. Oh, we in that ether now, baby. We in that Wata. I'm just getting my float on. You know, they'll look at you crazy if you hop out like this on them once again. You'll start making these boys sweat. You start making these people take some leakage in they pants, man. You start dressing like this again. You come out. You just pop out on them. When We talking about getting back to being natural. Getting back to the code, to keep the code. To keep the breath is to keep the code. To keep the code is to keep the breath. Ha, wow. All right. I mean, peep the fits, my nigga. This ain't just an everybody thing. We're talking specific frequency. We're talking ancient love song. We're talking 4, 3, 2. That's 9 above the barrier. We're not talking no witchcraft. We're just talking breath. This, as you can see, is the American way. This is the American way. And you can't tell us otherwise. Says the wooden cigar store Indian is from 1879. American English, but wooden images of feathered Indians or Negroes are mentioned outside tobacconist shops in England by 1852 and are said to have been in earlier use on the continent. Blackamoors and other dark-skinned foreigners have always possessed considerable attractions as signs for tobacconists and sometimes also for public houses. Negroes with feather headdresses and kilts smoking pipes are to be seen outside tobacco shops on the continent as well as in England. Because you know they like to explain everything away. And it just goes to show how fascinated people can be, right? It shows how fascinated with people who know they don't look like this. For people who know they do not look like this to sit here and make content, to sit here and make material that resembles something which they are not. It's a fascination, and they're fascinated. And they'll continue to speak on something that technically has nothing to do with them. Because they don't resemble this image or these folk. And they didn't go through what these folks went through. Yet they'll devote massive amounts of energy into bringing out material and content that has nothing to do with them. But when you're on the right channel, when you're surfing the correct wave, Hello, Hawa. I believe now we're in that quartz vision. And you get that quartz vision. We're just talking reflection. We're just talking respect, observation. We're just breathing ether. Because I thought there was no Aboriginal America, or I thought America didn't have Aboriginals. But here we got this little map saying otherwise, right? Aboriginal America. I mean, that's who I like to build with. Aboriginal America. Can we take care of the home team first? Can we get our affairs in order first before we're concerned and looking at everyone else? Can we fix up our house? This is a tribal flow. For a few tribal folk. Shalom to the real ones, man. I'm appreciating the vibe. I'm appreciating the energy. We're still talking about you. I mean, we can't make this up. Detail on top of detail on top of detail. We're gonna carry on to the next. See, truth is, if you've been surfing this channel, if you've been surfing this wave, you know exactly at some point I was gonna do it because I had to. Oh yeah, we getting to that quartz right about now. We about to activate that quartz right about now. I mean, you knew I was gonna have to do it. You see it. I mean, when I saw this, I was like, oh man. We talking civilization, huh? This reminds me of a particular civilization at that. This is specifically speaking to me at that. Oh, you were just black sub-Saharan monkeys. We was kings. Run that back by me now. We was kings. Well, it doesn't get more ironic than that. I mean, we're looking at Kang right now, right? Yeah. and considering the character of Kang, pretty sure now you're starting to think of that civilization that I was mentioning. Alright. They refer to him as He Who Remains. He Who Remains. At the end of time, the only one that's left is this guy. And the only way he knows that is because he was there since the beginning. Very, very interesting. Let's keep in mind the parallels. Alright, because now we're kicking a little more gear into this ether bus as we utilize our quartz crystals to maximize our magnetism. See, we were always talking about the melanation. You were always the marvel, Shabata. You were always the wondrous work of Hawa that they refer to as a miracle. We're just talking about He Who Remains, right? Keep in mind, He sees himself at the end and in the beginning. And that's something that we know about ourselves, right? This is exactly what the DNA that we possess means. That we are here pushing toward until the end with a gene pool that connects us back into the very first. The bridge. The filler of the gap. Antediluvian. Always keep in mind that bluish, purplish, green skin is just another way of saying black, baby. And if you don't like that, you can figure out what to do with it. Cause there's not much you can do to change it. It is what it is. See, I bet he's rethinking his decision on messing with that tall glass of milk, right? I'm pretty sure he's realizing that dipping your cookies in the milk, although it might sound and seem like a fun, innocent snack, has some health effects in the long term, in the long run. Unfortunately, it came at the cost of him no longer being able to maintain his representation of such a powerful reflection. But it does not take away from the fact that these stories are connected. There is a connection between the character and Jonathan Majors himself. There's no way he could play Kang without Kang already playing him. There's no way he can be Kang without Kang already being him. See, these actors channel. You can only channel that which you have a connection pt.2. It is a doorway. It is a portal. It is a stream. And this goes hand in hand. And you'll see how this connection builds. Because as you see, when we're talking about this goat of a man, when he came into your world and saw you plastered around the land, amongst the land, within the land, he saw you of the land. He saw that you meant business, that you represented a time before, and at the same time, a time much after the goat within this man will live. And you can see the fear, the anguish, the confoundment, the reckoning. He was like, oh no. Because Cain, actually, this series ties in with the demiurge. A lot of the good work we put in with the demiurge, a lot of this came flat out to the point where I didn't even have to do much. I wasn't even sure on how to present this to the tribe because it was so dead on of what I had already said. It's like, how can I continue to remake it again? But it feels good being within the flow right now to identify this very moment with the tribe, with the Shabbata, Ahab, the TVA, the variants. Variant means to change, right? To keep up with change, to be of change. Yet the TVA was trying to do everything within their power to keep everything the same. Very interesting. All right. So like I said, dealing with Cain, a civilization came into mind. A specific civilization came into mind. And I think we should go right ahead and dive right into it. Peace to the real ones. See, they don't like it when you bring up OMED pics like this. They don't like it when you start blowing up OMED pics like this. They like to tell you, that's a monkey, man. It's a monkey. It's a monkey, bro. It's not an actual person. It's just a monkey. Like you looking at depictions of the Olmec like this. They don't want you getting too comfortable with this image right here up and close. We was kings, boy. We was kings, boy. Looking a bit familiar. Got your quartz vision intact? I'm only talking to you if your quartz vision is intact. We talking dragonfly perspective. They don't like these type of Olmec pics. They just want to tell you it's a monkey. They don't like these Olmec depictions. See, when I tell you that the message is intended for the original American Negro, the Indian, the autochthonous Aboriginal, that's exactly what I mean, my nigga. They don't like these Olmec pics. They don't like you to see them like that. This definitely ruffles feathers. They don't like you looking at Olmec pics like this, man. But somebody's got to do it. Because the stone provides undeniable, unmistakably evidence of the phenotype. Keep in mind, India at the time of discovery was not a country. I mean, the type of technology to put this entire depiction into stone is crazy. Capital C, capital R, capital A, capital Z, capital Y. Crazy. This is crazy work. This is crazy work, my nigga. I mean, peep it, right? Let's look at the pic. I mean, this is what they don't like you to see. They don't like you looking at this stuff, man. Right? Because then you can relate and go, well, I got a pic that has that same thing. You mean to tell me we've been doing this in America since the beginning? Yeah, we've been doing this in America since the beginning, my nigga. And it's documented, archived, and artifact. Alright, it's not just a fact, it's an artifact. The fact goes so hard that it has to be preserved in some glass container and sealed away at maximum security. That's how hard this fact goes. We talking high vibration, my nigga. High vibration. They don't like you looking at Olmec pics like these. We was kings, huh? We talking detail, we talking phenotype. We talking the mother of civilization. We're talking the fathers of civilization. these people depicted exactly how they looked. Alright. I mean, you see something like that and it's undeniable, no mistaking who this phenotypically resembles. Off the bat, you're like, yeah, that's me. I got a cousin that looks like that. I got a brother that looks like that. I got an uncle that looks like that. I got a dad that looks like that. I got a brother that looks like that. I got a cousin that looks like that. I got a homie that looks like that. I got an op that looks like that. Oh wow. I mean, they even went so far as to name this one El Negro. It's just a game of hot potato at this point. Keep passing it, keep passing it, keep passing it. Don't let it dry. And keep it away from the blacks. Keep it away from the blacks, because there's a difference between melanin and being black. There's a difference between sub-Saharan monkeys and being dark-skinned. There's a difference between we was kings I mean, we talking right in the flesh, right? They don't like these Olmec pigs. Cause you know when they rolled up, they were like, what? How dare these Negroes construct massive blocks of basalt rock 9-10 feet tall to adorn their likeness, their image, in a style so strong that it kind of gives me the chills. It freaks me out. I get a little scared. Where are we at? Let's see what's going on. So Cain built his civilization, even though it was in the quantum realm. Even though it was outside of time, he still built his civilizations. In the case with Loki, he had built that joint so good, it was self-sufficient until it wasn't. And they used Loki as the one to disrupt it, right? The trickster. But if you listen to the plan that Cain had the entire time, he was trying to activate the same plan that Thanos was. And when you really start to look at what the Avengers were doing, you notice that they were trying to interrupt a natural cleansing that needs to take place. The earth is already in process. This train's already in motion. You see what's going on? So yeah, Kang reminded me of the Olmec civilization right away. Right away. Couldn't have been more obvious than that. See, those Olmec pics, they don't like you talking about. They don't want you to look at. Because when we're talking about the earliest, when we're talking about the original inhabitants, you cannot exclude phenotype. Because we know how the people in this area depicted themselves. We know how it was that they left themselves on the walls of the murals. We know how they felt about themselves, and they were not ashamed. They did not need to put paint on their bodies just so that they can paint themselves with that same paint onto the wall. We're talking massive civilization. Of complexity, of knowledge and wisdom being displayed. We're talking the old world. We're able to see just what these melanated people were able to do. See this piece from the Codex. And we see who's doing the work, who's not. We see who's in servitude and who's not. We see who's of authority and who's not. Quartz vision is on high right about now. That clarity is perfect. Now, considering how they detailed themselves, you can just imagine this brother right here. You can see the amount of detail that went into this to preserve the truth, the Wata. This is no play. Alright. We see what's going on. When you compare the expression to the functionalities of the environment, the charge begins to build right away. Coincidence or not? Ancestors were never a joke. Your birthright is legendary. When you recognize just how natural you are, your world begins to open up, my nigga. Aha to the tribe. Los Castillos Studio Mosaic Mayan Priest, Chichen Itza, Mexico, 1950s. Alright, we're looking at a priest king working the ether. And you see the complexion he's depicted as. This is no play. Like I said, we know this is gonna ruffle feathers. But as you know, they are always trying to whitewash you. They're always trying to cover up that which is your story. Alright? They tried to downplay the brown. They tried to drown out the brown. Say that black is whack. Hit your mental with all types of attacks. Which is why you have to dodge your own hijack at all costs. Because you see, this is exactly how the ancients depicted themselves. And they don't look that much different from Jonathan Majors. I mean, he got a hell of a nose if you ask me. And it looked like it belonged to some of these Negroes over here. If I'm being honest. If we're peeping the fringes, my goodness. In eloquent detail. Fresh out of a page of a script. They look like the 15th century people of Asia. Because we know it definitely was not called India. Not before 1492 it wasn't. And we know this was painted way before 1492. talking achievements, accolades, to the ether itself. Way up. Way up. It is the Masonic secret, my nigga. And they're playing hot potato. We're gonna go ahead and jump into the next one. Peace. So we bringing back this little excerpt from part 1. Especially since this website is actually gone since the airing of episode 1, part 1. It says the color of the Indians of the California mission seen by La Perouse very nearly approaches that of the Negroes whose hair is not woolly, and in another place the color of these Indians, which is that of Negroes. Langsdorff, who visited San Francisco on the coast of California, confirms that the observations of La Perouse, for he says the Indians there are of a very dark complexion approaching to black. They have large projecting lips and broad flat Negro-like noses. Indeed, many of their features as well as their physiognomy and almost their color bear a strong resemblance to the Negroes. Their hair, however, is long and straight. All right. It says black in the study titled Black Lives in the English Archives from 1500 to 1677 is thus Negro, Ethiopian, Egyptian, Moor, Blackamoor, Barbarian, and Indian, including orthographic variations thereof for all of them. The study use of the word also includes geographic names by themselves. Alright. So all of those terms are synonymous. Negro, Ethiopian, Egyptian, Moor, Blackamoor, Barbary, Indian, all of it. Mulattoes, blacks, Indian, Moors, it's all the same. All offer useful demonstrations of the property of adhering to the taxonomic looseness in tracing 16th and 17th century English constructions of colored people. At the same time, hidden in the vast archives of parish churches within London and without, all through the Tudor and Stuart regions, are voluminous cryptic citations of Negro, Negger, Nagar, Blackamoor, Moor, Barbary, Barbarian, Ethiopian or Ethiopians, and Indian. The discussions of the records are organized in 5 chapters dealing with records of black people in the early 16th century. Just a reiteration, tying everything that we were already putting down, especially when we're digging on the Ethiopians. You should always be interested about the Ethiopians and what they're trying to tie into that. It says in 1878, his attention as directed to its former presence at Belvedere Museum by notice in Baron von Sacken's descriptive catalog of the Imperial Ambras collection printed in Vienna in 1855, wherein, among rare objects from various parts of the world, it is mentioned as follows. Number 3, a Mexican headdress about 3 feet in height, composed of magnificent green feathers studded with small plates of gold. This specimen was turned in the inventory of 1596, a Moorish hat. Guided by this note, Herr von Hochstetter, with the assistance of Dr. Ig, the custodian of Ambras' collection, found the precious relic and rescued it from the obscure corner of a showcase where it hung, folded together next to a medieval bishop's mitre and surrounded by sundry curiosities from North America, China, and Sunda Islands. On folio 472 of the ancient document, it is cataloged with other objects in feather work contained in a chest, number 9, and is described as a Moorish hat of beautiful, long, lustrous green and gold-hued feathers, bedecked above with white, red, and blue feathers and gold rosettes and ornaments. In front of the forehead, it has a beak of pure gold. The term Moorish, as here applied, can be scarcely regarded as a deceptive one, inasmuch as Moctezuma, the king of Tenochtitlan in Mexico, it is subsequently designated as a Moorish king in this same inventory. So they're saying that the feather crown is a Moorish hat, and that the term Indian itself was substituted for Moorish. Alright. So, we're seeing how these things took place. Right? And we're understanding the importance. Alright? So we're going to carry on. Peace. See, they're gonna try to down talk you, right? They're gonna say you're just a sub-Saharan with no pride and where you come from, which is the mud, in their opinion, right? Problem is we were representing and we're touching on something very specific. And it just so happened to be that the only tribes of people anywhere outside of America that I found that does this was in Africa. And this is worn by women. Alright? Very beautiful. Very elaborate and very similar to what we were doing over here. Not as quite, but similar. Similar enough to say, okay, there's a relation of some sort. Alright. These are the Namabian. Now, the Namabian are nowhere near any of the areas that are located and known for the importation and exportation of so-called slaves. It's not off the Rice Coast, not off the Gold Coast, not off the west coast of Africa at all. All right? I didn't even see anything when I was looking in reference to Siberians. I didn't see anything Siberian, none of that, which is a big standout for me, because that's at least where the plains tribal people get their phenotype from. Those folk that are of the Siberian stock. So if the plains resemble them, yet their ancestors don't have feathers, then that's letting me know that although the plains might use and uphold the feathers in high standard, the source comes from somewhere else, comes from something else. All right, because we're just talking about the Moorish king in the Orient. The Moorish king in the Orient. Now the problem with that is that he has on that feather crown once again, and that he's referred to as a Moor of the Orient. And if you know where the Orient is usually something of a Chinese capacity / Egyptian capacity, and none of those inhabitants are referred to as Moors. So this would have to be addressing the fact that the Orient they're in reference to is America. Especially if you got part 1, we were digging on the Orient. And this is just a Moorish king of the Orient, or an Indian king of the Orient. Notice how they said Moorish and Indian were interchangeable. Still talking Etherians on you. Ethiopians. Alright. So we're going to get into some more crystallizing clarity before we ride out. So in the movie The Eternals, I caught a whole lot, right? I caught a whole lot. And I wanted to make mention of this character right here, which I find extremely crazy, because if we talk about it, just trying to see if interesting. Okay, perfect. So the characters here, as we see, right, are intertwined. Now this is what's driving me crazy, is the fact that her name in this movie, The Eternals, is called Cersei. Now she's partnered up with this dude who happens to be an Eternal too, who also happened to play in the show where he was involved in one way or another with a character named Cersei. Crazy part is that she was said to have been with that guy, with this guy, partnered up for about 5,000 years. He disappears and she moves on. And who does she move on to? Let's see, right? She moves on to this guy. Crazy. Right? he being the brother of the other show where he too was involved with another character by the name of Cersei, which was a woman. Now it's a trip because that show was actually Game of Thrones, right? And the Game of Thrones, their whole objective is to stop those that have the dragons. Crazy. So Cersei here has both Jon Snow and Robb Stark as boy toys. Even though the show is no longer Game of Thrones. Now I thought that was really interesting because Hollywood normally ties their characters together, especially scenes, right? So now what can we borrow from me mentioning that? Well, let's borrow this energy of Dracons now, right? We're now talking about dragons, right? So we're borrowing this energy of dragons, and she supposedly runs into this character named Arishem. Now if you notice the name, you see the Shem right in it, right? So this Arishem ends up revealing to Cersei that he's actually their creator. He's the one that created them. And because he created them, he then instructs them on the fact that, well, their coming to process wasn't exactly the way she might have imagined. All right. The name of that celestial is Tiamat. Tiamat in ancient Mesopotamian mythology, which is where they highlighted at first, where they first introduced the internals. Okay, when they first introduced the internals show up in Mesopotamia around 5000 BC. Now they say Tiamat in ancient Mesopotamian mythology is the primordial goddess who was the personification of the salt sea and the mother of gods. She was also associated with the chaos of creation. When we go to images, we get Dracons, dragons. So this Cersei was actually intended to destroy the dragon, to slay the dragon. No different than St. George. No different than Christopher Colombo. All of these archetypes designed and intended on slaying your dragon. All right, on slaying your dragon. So this being tells her this is what this is for, right? He then goes on to tell her that she was created in the forge, right? But that she can't remember anything that she's done in previous lives or anything like that before, because her memory's always swiped clean. She's like, what? She's kind of bugged out, right? He then goes on to inform her that she's actually a clone. she interacts with herself, and this is where things get pretty weird. All right. So see, this is the place, the forge. He tells her this is your home. She's looking around. He tells her that he created her and designed her in this facility, and that she's been programmed to think whatever it is that she's thinking, and that she was basically grafted and put together. It is here that I built and programmed the Eternals. Okay, she sees what's being pushed toward her. As she walks closer, she sees that it's a version of her, of herself. She then walks to it. She's like, what? And yeah, she realizes that she's a clone. She's a product of cloning. She's not as real as she thinks she is. None of them are. And this has demiurge energy written all over it. Alright. So she's losing her mind. She's freaking out. It's not a good look. Crazy. This also carries another parallel to something else we're gonna go ahead and get into right about now. Okay, so I want to bring your attention to the creator, the movie, where that same actress comes out and she has a role. Now, if we look at her name is Gemma Chan or Gemma Khan, right? Khan. Now, if you're thinking the way the naturalist thinks or the supernaturalist thinks, you're combining Khan and the fact that her role, her character in the movie is called Maya Khan, right? Maya Khan. And when you take this guy right here, his name is John David Washington, right? John David Washington, as in one name. John David Washington. Peep it. All right. His name is Joshua. All right. Now, these scripts are normally tied to the person playing them because, as I've mentioned, we're talking about a channeling, right? A pulling on a substance. Normally, that substance is spiritual. And they have to tie because you have to be able to relate to that which you're channeling, which is a character for a role, right? So we're talking movie role, we're talking character. So she ties herself in with him, right? And as we break that down, well, considering, looking at his hair, we're dealing with a Negro who's programmed. he seems to be head over heels. Mind you, the setting of this movie takes place in two places. What they refer to as New Asia, right? New Asia, and New Asia is a trip because New Asia represents all the modern Asians that we know of combined, working together basically as one, and they all come together as Asians to empower AI. And then he represents, of course, America, or the American, or the American, specifically from Los Angeles, where AI executed its attack on the so-called U.S. body and eradicated the entire city of Los Angeles in one swoop by way of bombing. He was one of the survivors that was able to make it out, and he went to work for the government in resistance to this artificial intelligence, where they go hunting it down. He comes to New Asia undercover as an American, as the operation they refer to as Nomad, to take down Nirmata, which is the source of this AI power. She is loyal to the native people and their cause of integrating human and artificial intelligence. And at the same time, artificial intelligence, or AI, is being used to improve living on both parties. So as you see, this is supposed to be the future, yet there's still calling onto the American Negro, as sleep as you are, as unaware as you are, because we understand this message didn't get to you. Although this message was for you, it did not get to you. Yet the image and who they're appealing to, who they're trying to drop this truth on, stands evident. Alright? Now, he happens to actually be from Los Angeles as well, which goes hand in hand, because Maya, his counterpart in this film, was actually raised in London, which is where she starts off in the Internals, right? When you're watching the Internals, she starts off in London, where she runs into Jon Snow. Now, she's actually from London. So in this movie, this scene takes place, or this plot takes place, in Los Angeles as well as New Asia. And you have Joshua, if you're paying attention, it's really Hawashua, leading the Israelites, so to speak, into new journeys, right? Now, he's all about his mission. He goes in here headstrong because he suffered, right? He was with this girl. They built a relationship out of nowhere. His side of things gets involved. They go to basically raid the spot. He ran out of time. They needed to extract information. He didn't have it. They ready to drop bombs. His girl Maya, if we're really looking at it, we're talking about the merging of the tribes, right? We've been looking at this the whole time. Okay, so now we're talking the Hawashua connection back to the Khans of Maya. If you're digging on her name, right? The Khans of Maya. So he's with her. She's pregnant with his child. And she finds out as he's trying to stabilize the situation, trying to minimize the chaos, and then he slips up and reveals that he's actually undercover and that he works for Nomad, or the very people who was there to drop bombs. They're looking for the source Narmada. He instructs her and says that everything is fine, that the people that he works for who is searching isn't interested in her because they're only interested in Narmada. But he didn't realize at the same time she was also keeping secrets of her own. Maya being Asian represents that mixing of a sense to where she pulls from the ancient line in a manner while still diving into the modern or the new at the same time. So when we're talking about a genetic offspring, the mixing of their such, it normally can favor the odds of it being more of an ancient type connection than something modern, even though the ancient in Hawashua is ancient and modern at the same time, because it's the complete process. It's the perfect version, so to speak. Right? Nonetheless, she represents the Khans of Maya by name. Okay, her energy is to ignite that connection. He's deeply in love. They drop a bomb over there where she's at. She happens to run away from him, even shoots at him to let him know she's serious about her disgust and his betrayal. She jumps into the open waters, and his crew drops a bomb right near her, causing him to basically see her demise right before him, knowing she was pregnant. His entire family is destroyed. Years later, there's a child rumored to be born, and this child is attached to the threat of a weapon, and this weapon will be used to basically put the favor into New Asia and artificial intelligence. He's brought back into searching for this child with the hopes of establishing himself once again with his long lost love, Maya. But if you pay attention to the child looks exactly like the way Maya did, or Gemma Chan or Khan did in her role for Cersei in the Eternals, when she realized she was a clone. Same concept, right? Completely different movie. And again, we're talking about the creator, where Cersei, or the Eternal Warrior, was revealed that she was created by a higher being. Well, here we're dealing with the same concept, except only now there's a twist to it, because the creator is her. She's the one that created this child, right? She created this child born straight from AI with the intention on perfecting everything about artificial intelligence and bettering it so that they can overpower the bullying humans or the Americans. He grows attached to her. He feels there's this closeness, but he can't explain it because he already knows by way of training there's no way that a sentient or an AI is real. Everything that they express and push out is just a form of programming that they have wired into them. But there's something about this child that is causing him to develop a closeness. It ends up being revealed that the child was created from his actual own DNA. So in actuality, he's the father to that child, and that child is his daughter. And with that being said, it now puts a twist in the implication on this term, the creator, because it was through the genetics of ancient people, ultimately through Hawashua, which would be a replication of an ancient man, a representation of an ancient man, birthing a brand new life form once again, when we're talking about synthetic humans and clones. I'd like to thank everybody for surfing the wave with me today. It's been a marvelous wave. Your man Natural is through the roof with you right now. I'm glad that you made it all the way through. This is another beautiful build with the tribe, man. I hope you were able to catch the lesson in its entirety. We're back up. We got the site on lock. Go ahead and check us out, naturalbylaw.net. See if there's anything you like. Let's make it happen. Again, make sure you check out the Patreon. We got all the drop that was deleted from the YouTube, and we're uploading new drop over there as well, just to keep the page refreshed, just in case as we go they take something down. We got more to come, more on the way. Much aloha to everybody surfing the wave. And until next time, peace, peace.